Welcome back to my channel, everyone. The Roloffs were initially presented to us in Little People, Big World more than 25 seasons ago. We're delving into the current whereabouts of all 4 Roloff children in 2025 today. That's correct. Jacob, Molly, Jeremy, and Zach. The ultimate Roloff family update is this one. Let's begin. Ironically, Zach Roloff is the oldest Roloff sibling, so let's start with him. On May 10, 1990, Zach Roloff was born, a few minutes ahead of his fraternal twin, Jeremy, being the sole Roloff child with. Zach's early years were documented for Little People, Big World starting at the age of 15, just like his mother Amy, who also has dwarfism. On a very public platform, millions of people witnessed him undergo surgeries, go on his first dates, play high school football and deal with life as a dwarf while, in a way, having a pretty happy upbringing on the farm. He has always been quiet, considerate, and gentle. Yet he is incredibly devoted, especially to his mother, Amy. Over the years, he has always sort of taken her side. In 2015, Zach wed Tori Patton, a Washington-based kindergarten teacher. This was undoubtedly a major plot point for the program. Tori was employed at the family's pumpkin patch when they first met. Zach also mentioned that girls typically come to the property to spend out with his brother Jeremy. Furthermore, it took him some time to truly understand that Tori was supporting him. And the show extensively covered their frenzied infatuation. They have welcomed 3 children together. Jackson, who was born on May 12, 2017. Josiah was born on April 30, 2022. While Leia was born in November 2019. Like Zach, all 3 children were born with araplasia. Since it's actually rather uncommon in the community for all of your children to be dwarves in the same circumstance, Zach's doctor reportedly suggested that he might have a gene that would make all of his children dwarfs. Regarding raising children with dwarfism, Zach and Tori have been rather forthright. Dealing with difficulties like as minor issues like headaches or, stuff like that or your foot. They worry a lot about the children when they are harmed since it can be a more serious issue. Therefore, they do care about health issues a lot. Zach spent more time than any of his siblings on Little People, Big World. His plots frequently dealt with parenting, family, and a great deal of friction with his father, Matt, particularly following a botched attempt to purchase a portion of Roloff Farms. You know, the tension was a major factor in Zach and Tori's decision to leave the program in 2024 because they had to sort of continuously discuss it. Since I believe that Zach didn't want her to meet him or something, or postponed it, or showed no interest in doing so, I suppose that a major source of difficulty is Matt's new fiancée, Karen. So, there's definitely something happening there. And I simply must bring this up, Karen. For a long time, there had been rumors that Matt was married to Amy and that Karen was having an affair with him. Just letting you know. Indeed, there are even. I've seen episodes when things are suspenseful. Everything is weird. In any case, Zach and Tori now host their own podcast, Raising Heights, where they discuss parenting, family, and life as young adults. It's funny, you know? They always experience highs and lows throughout the week, and they have to balance the demands of public attention, trolls, and other issues. In a recent episode, Spicy Questions, they addressed queries like, do you know if they still go? They said that they don't necessarily seek out Roloff Farms because the dynamics haven't changed and that their most recent visit was for Mateo, Jacob's kid, on his birthday. At this point, Matt and Zach still don't have a particularly strong relationship, but Matt still attends their children's baseball games and I believe he made a comment about Christmas and other similar topics. Zach did point out that sibling connections are superior. In particular, he gets along well with Jacob and Molly. He mentioned that the kids or cousins enjoy spending time together, which is helpful, but he didn't go into great detail about Jeremy. I believe that was his way of stating that although things were stressful, they are now somewhat calming down. And that's unfortunate since Zach and Jeremy are, in my opinion, the family's heart. They are simply quite different, even if they were the show's main stars. Thus, it's somewhat inevitable that they would clash. In general, I'm hoping they can continue to have a positive and healthy twin connection. Let's also discuss Jeremy Roloff related to this. He was likewise born on May 10, 1990, and grew up with his siblings on camera. Even though Jeremy does not have dwarfism like Zach does, he was the subject of intense public scrutiny from an early age. Citing a desire for independence and privacy, Jeremy and his wife Audrey left reality TV in 2016, after almost 10 years on Little People, Big World. The eldest of his siblings to marry, Jeremy had actually relocated to Santa Barbara for college and briefly resided in Los Angeles before returning to Oregon. On September 20, 2014, Jeremy wed Audrey Mirabella Body, and the two of them have 4 kids together. On September 10, 2017, Ember Jean was born. Born on January 8, 2020, is Bodie James. Mirabella was born a year ago, and Radley Knight was born on November 8, 2021. In fact, Jeremy and Audrey have written several books since departing TLC and frequently discuss Union, The Marriage Journal, Creative Love, and A Love Letter Life are their books. Additionally, they have a strong 50% brand that is essentially centered on promoting covenant marriages and preventing divorce, I suppose. Additionally, they discuss more serious subjects than Zach and Tori on their podcast, These Are the Days. And this is only one illustration of the brothers' differences. They are entirely distinct podcasts. They bought a fixer-upper farmhouse in Oregon in 2022 that was more over 4,000 square feet and situated on 4 acres, fairly near Audrey's parents' place and Roloff Farms. They recently took their children to Disneyland as a result. Additionally, they strongly advocate for children to spend time outdoors. Every summer, they aim to play outside for 1,000 hours. I suppose they homeschool their children part-time as well. And, among other things, have come under fire for their opinions on raw milk and their passion for essential oils. Jeremy also enjoys ranting about philosophy. He adores constructing or artistic endeavors. He is also well-versed in regarding Bitcoin. Fun fact: he describes the entire experience of not being able to get the farm Roloff Farm as the demise of a dream. Yes, exactly. He was the first brother to approach his father about purchasing the land. Everyone was shocked when it didn't materialize because he was essentially promised the farm from an early age, with everything being recorded on the show, but it didn't work out. The birth date of Jacob George Roloff is January 17, 1997. He is Matt and Amy's youngest child. He had 4 children and was raised in front of TLC cameras. In fact, at the age of 9, he made an appearance on Little People, Big World. But Jacob was unique even as a child. In addition to being shy, silent, and a deep thinker, he was also prone to accidents and was most likely to get injuries on the show. He caught a tick in one episode, and they were concerned about removing it. He actually had a serious mishap with a trebuchet in one of them. In any case, Jacob took the risk at the age of 18. Choice to quit the show completely, rejecting reality TV, and essentially believing that it fabricated a story about him that was not true. To be honest, it was a really strange episode when he left. He simply drove away, which was unimpressive, and he never came back. It's really strange. In 2020, Jacob made the tragic and extremely courageous statement that a producer had sexually assaulted him while he was on the show. His loved ones supported him, and he was intent on getting better and just preventing others from going through the same thing. In September 2019, Jacob wed writer and artist Isabel Rock. They were introduced via mutual friends. On December 6, 2021, they welcomed Mateo Tomas Roloff, their first child. However, in contrast to his siblings, Jacob decided that Mateo would not be included in any online photos in order to preserve his privacy and his early years away from the internet and cameras. Although they no longer reside in the large house, Jacob and Isabel now make Roloff Farms their permanent home. Actually, they reside in the remodeled RV that is parked on the property. I think the DW. Jacob has a close working relationship with his father, Matt. He assists in running the farm's daily operations, particularly during pumpkin season, and appears to be the closest to Matt. He is actively involved in composting, chicken care, orchard planting, gardening, and creating a more regenerative farm for the future. Although you won't see him on television, he may supposedly be seen mending things or transporting hay during the autumn season. You know, Jacob has turned into a kind of silent thinker. It seems to me that, in that regard, he is quite similar to Jeremy. His social media is replete with quotations from mystic literature, Wendell Berry, and Noam Chomsky. Additionally, he frequently discusses Palestine, anti-capitalist sentiment, and environmental justice. Let's move on to Molly Jo now. Born on September 17, 1993, Molly Jo Roloff is the only daughter and third child in the Roloff family. She appeared with her brothers, Zach, Jeremy, and Jacob, in the early seasons of Little People, Big World, where she grew up. From Molly stood out right away. Intelligent and grounded. She didn't really want to be in the spotlight, you know. She's really intelligent. In a home full of huge personalities, fans frequently referred to her as the family's voice of reason since she was always so composed and considerate. Molly attended Whitworth University in Spock, Washington, after graduating from high school, where she double majored in accounting and Spanish. In contrast to her siblings, Molly left at all in the entertainment industry. She chose to pursue a career in finance instead. She has held positions at well-known companies like Moss Adams and, most recently, Nordstrom as a senior accountant. That's exciting, then. Her personality is reflected in this path, which is low drama, professional, and well-structured. Molly married her longtime partner Joel Silvius in August 2017 on the Roloff family farm in Oregon, but the ceremony was not broadcast on television, and only a few pictures were released, which fits Molly's understated fashion sense. Away from the spotlight, the couple now resides in Spokane and has a peaceful existence. They haven't revealed any children and don't share much on social media, but who knows? She occasionally goes to Roloff Farm, particularly during the autumn and family gathering seasons. She seems to be close to everyone, in my opinion. On the farm in 2025, in the meantime, Jacob is, I suppose, the right-hand man now. Karen Chandler and Matt are engaged, and they currently live somewhat part-time in Oregon, Arizona. That's your Roloff family update for 2025, but who knows what will happen with the farm. For the children, the siblings have truly matured and gone their separate ways, from podcasts to pumpkin patches, farm life to families. And watching it all happen is kind of fascinating. Which of the Roloff siblings' journeys caught you off guard? Does the fact that Jacob is essentially in charge of the farm surprise you? Put it in the comments section. Please click the like button and remember to subscribe to my channel for deeper explorations. Try your hardest and forget the rest, as Zach and Tori advise on their podcast. Until the next time. Goodbye, everyone.